Our championships in our DNA, in our blood, in our heart, in our soul is another championship in our future.
Back to Curry. Step back. Three-pointer.
We began the 76th chapter of the NBA with the reigning champions raising their banners, a reminder of their continued dominance.
The NBA playoffs are back. The road to the finals has just begun. This is the time of the year where the men's basketball is separated from the post-college rec league. The Warriors loss to the Kings, while somewhat expected, doesn't mean a whole lot for the Warriors overall, but does mean a lot for Sacramento. After all, it was their first playoff win in over 16 years. Hey, what's happening everyone? This is Swish. If you've been watching my channel and enjoy the content, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of my latest uploads. I recently set a goal for this channel to hit 30,000 subs by the end of the season, and you guys have been killing it this past month, and I just wanted to take some time to thank you guys so much for subscribing to this channel. For game 1 of the Kings vs Warriors, the regular season would have you believe that Golden State would be walking into a minefield. It would also have you believe that this Kings team would shred the reigning champions. The only problem with that is, they are still the reigning champions. Let's not forget what this means. Last season, the Warriors were the only team to beat every single opponent in a 7-game series. The fact that this game came down to the last possession isn't all that surprising, but should mean very well for the Warriors for a number of reasons. Regardless of how this series turns out, whether the Warriors win in 5 or 6 games, Kings fans should be happy with what their team has done this year. I'm going to do my best to cover every game for this playoff series to keep you guys informed on both teams. So without further delay, let's get to it. The Kings entered this year's playoffs as the 3rd seed behind the Denver Nuggets and the Memphis Grizzlies. The Warriors entered as the 6th seed with both teams separated by the Phoenix Suns in 4th and the LA Clippers in 5th, who stayed in front of the Warriors due to having the tiebreaker, something they accomplished by winning their Warrior matchups in the regular season. This year's playoffs will be by far the most competitive playoffs in years. Jokic has Murray and Michael Porter Jr. The Grizzlies, despite not having Steven Adams, are even better than when they made the playoffs last year due to having more experience and are looking to do even better than second-round exits. Kevin Durant is back in the West, teaming up with Chris Paul and Devin Booker to try to get all 3 players their first chips. Just kidding, KD. CP3's window is closing, however, and a championship would solidify his career among the great point guards. Both LeBron and Steph Curry are in and healthy, with the Lakers in a solid position to give James one final run. Both players are trying to go for a 5th championship. With a healthy Warriors team behind him, Curry looks to be in the better position. Speaking of the Warriors, despite them not having home court advantage, they managed to navigate their seeding position to face the Sacramento Kings. Was this a mistake? Considering the fact that a lower seeding would put them in the play-in and a higher seeding position would pit them against a Suns team fielding 3 superstars, the choice was obvious. The Kings, as I've said, haven't won a playoff game in almost 17 years, and their individual players have the least amount of experience. This wasn't about choosing a weak team, this was about electing to start the playoffs against the least difficult opponent. So, what were the Warriors up against? De'Aaron Fox this season has averaged 25 points per game, but went off for 38 points, hitting 13 of 27 shots. This is the 2nd most points ever scored in a playoff debut, behind only Luka Doncic, who dropped 42 3 years ago. He's been the most clutch player in the NBA regular season this year, and is continuing to show why the Kings, despite trading numerous players, haven't traded Fox. It also didn't hurt that one of the most dangerous players off the bench in Malik Monk, as could have been expected, got super hot and was virtually unstoppable. He was 8 of 13 from the field and a staggering 14 of 14 from the free throw line. Stop fouling Malik! Aside from being super athletic and being able to play above the rim, Monk is able to finish and make shots from beyond the arc and just overall be a super aggressive wing player. Trey Lyles also had some big moments, hitting some big threes. But the biggest betrayal of the night was that step back 3 by Harrison Barnes off the dribble in the clutch that doubled the Kings lead late in the fourth. In case any of you are wondering, Barnes, who's a former Warrior, his performance in the playoffs, essentially his inability to make shots, was one of the reasons the Warriors let go of him after the 2016 playoffs. This made that Wiggins' final 3-point attempt hurt just a little bit, as the Warriors just couldn't close it. That miss, though, shouldn't have come as a surprise, as Wiggins was just 1 for 8 from distance for the night. Considering it's his first game back after an extended absence that saw Wiggins miss every regular season game after All-Star break and even 1 or 2 games before, what's most important is his energy and effort. Eventually the shots will fall as he gets back into rhythm, especially those wide open threes. Speaking of his energy and effort, we did see some great plays from Wiggins, which again remind you of the difference in intensity when he plays in the playoffs versus playing in the regular season. One of the main points I brought up in the last video was the fact that Wiggins, having not played in any recent games, should be well rested and ready for the playoffs. Here we see Jordan Poole emphasizing that fact and again reminding Wiggins of the point I'm making about finding his rhythm in game 1 versus maybe later on in game 3.
But be aggressive so you can find your rhythm. I'd rather you find your rhythm in the first game as opposed to finding it in the third game. You got fresh legs. You feel me?
With 17 points on 7 of 16 shooting, that's 6 of 8 inside the arc, 3 rebounds, and 4 blocks, I'm definitely not concerned about Wiggs.
Did they feel good coming out of your hand?
That last one felt amazing. It did.
But what about the rest of the Warriors roster? It's important to look firstly at all the players that Steve Kerr included in his rotation. With Wiggins coming off the bench for the first game back due to his absence, Kerr went with the 3-guard lineup of Curry, Klay, Dante, along with Draymond and Looney. The Warriors typically get their best performance when starting Kevon Looney, so Steve Kerr was certainly putting his best foot forward. That is, until Andrew Wiggins is ready to start, which might come sooner rather than later. The bench rotation consisted of 4 players, which included Wiggins, of course, and further included Poole, Payton, and Kuminga. This is a tight rotation currently, but I'm expecting that Steve Kerr will be continuously evaluating the bench. JK only played 10 minutes, which is the least of any bench player in Game 1, but I don't see a situation where Steve Kerr doesn't keep him in the rotation. If the bench continues to be weak, we can expect some changes. One of the major challenges in the matchup for the Warriors was the fact that the Kings pulled down 50 rebounds to the Warriors' 41. The size advantage the Kings had in the paint was very obvious, and just a reduction in the amount of second chance opportunities for the Kings would have seen this game with a very different outcome. This was the same issue the Warriors ran into last year, so a focus on gang rebounding and keeping the Kings off the offensive glass is most definitely going to impact Game 2 of the Warriors versus the Kings. From an individual perspective, Steph Curry was a plus 11. That is, when he was on the floor, the Warriors outscored the Kings by 11 points. In those 11 minutes that he didn't play, the Kings outscored the Warriors by 14. Again, Curry's minutes can be adjusted to give the Warriors a bit more of an edge, but it's still early in the playoffs. If things do get desperate, you could see Kerr increasing Curry's minutes from the 37 he played last night up to the 40s. The idea, however, is to avoid burning him out this early and not have anything left when the tougher games come along in the Western Conference and NBA Finals. Just 3 more minutes from Curry could have made the difference. That's how many more minutes Fox played than Steph Curry, as the Kings had to start tapping into Fox's reserves to get the win. Those minutes that we didn't have Curry on the floor, though, are usually anchored by his splash brother Klay Thompson. Unfortunately, Klay, who led the league in made 3-pointers this year, only connected on 5 of 14 from 3, with both Steph and Klay combining for 11 made 3s on 28 attempts. Klay ended the night with 21 points, but was a minus 14 overall, the lowest on the team. The Warriors just could not stop the Kings from scoring in those minutes that Klay was on the floor without Steph. Another interesting statistic is that the Warriors starting lineup was an overall -2, while the Kings starting lineup was an overall -16. Despite Poole and Wiggins coming off the bench, the Warriors had a much weaker bench that overall ended up succumbing to the pressure of the Kings. All 4 Kings players off the bench, Lyles, Len, Monk, and Mitchell, were positive plus minuses. Those bench minutes along with Fox were crucial to the Kings walking that tightrope of a game and eventually getting the win. Overall, just getting a win should be exciting enough for the Kings fans, but they not only did that, they also won the first matchup against the defending champions. For the Warriors, however, this is just about honing in and getting to know your opponent. There's no other team that knows how to make adjustments like Golden State, so the Kings have to be prepared for how the Warriors will respond. What helps the Kings is that their head coach spent the last 6 years winning with Golden State as their second in command. Mike Brown is likely to be Steve Kerr's toughest matchup regardless of rounds. However, the hope for the Dubs is that their talent will prevail. This will make for one of, if not the most exciting matchups in the early playoffs. Losing your second in command, your defensive coach, and to then play against him at his new turf in a season when you've not done particularly well in away games while he's about to get the Coach of the Year award is a bit of a task even for the defending champions. Despite that, it came down to a single possession on a night where no player on the Warriors outplayed their usual capabilities and some guys had a below average night. In last season's finals matchup, the Warriors lost the first game against the Boston Celtics, but after about 2 to 3 games, the Warriors had them figured out and took a very tough team out in 6 games. Kudos to the Kings for how far they've come, but I expect no less here from Golden State in being able to analyze their opponent data and pick them apart in subsequent games. Here are the most interesting points of the game though, that will show you why and how the Warriors still have control of the series. If you watched the game, you'll notice Looney dominated the Kings center Sabonis. While Alex Len gave the Dubs some trouble off the bench, don't expect that to continue. Make no mistake, the real threat was and still is Sabonis. The Warriors were able to contain him and neutralize the threat in the paint. Expect that to continue. Keegan Murray has proven to be a prolific shooter, but the Warriors kept him in check and didn't allow him to hit a single 3 in the playoff opener. Where the Kings did hurt the Warriors was attacking from the perimeter or through the drive with their smaller players. Fox had to prove to the Warriors that he is that guy, and he came out and showed them that he is and that he deserves to be taken seriously. With that said, don't expect another 38-point game from Fox in this series. The Warriors have too many great perimeter defenders to allow this to happen. Don't expect Monk to go off for another 32-point game in under 30 minutes either, which means this has played right into the Warriors' hands. Or has it? Fox is a quick player and seems to be taking advantage of the Klay Thompson matchup. You might see a lineup where the Warriors start GP2 with the toughest defensive assignment of this series, or run a box and one with Dante locking down on Fox instead if he remains in the starting lineup. Keeping Fox from scoring will be crucial to the Warriors, further limiting the Kings' ability to score. So just to recap, the Warriors will likely emphasize gang rebounding, keeping the Kings off the offensive glass, put heavy guard pressure on Fox and Monk with the best perimeter defenders in the league, and continue to neutralize the size advantage that favors Sacramento. Let's also watch the bench minutes because this is where most of the damage that determined the final outcome took place. So we're through with game 1, and while the ball is still in the Kings' court, Mike Brown has checkmated. Your move, Kerr. Now it is still only the first of a possible 7 games to be played, and things only get serious after a team wins 3 games and are up by at least 2. But let me know if the Warriors have anything to be worried about, or if the Kings rather should be worried despite winning. Who do you have winning the series? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching. Till next time.